Hi, I'm Dibley, and today I'm going to run through the process I used to change the oil on my 1-year-old Lidl Special Florabest lawnmower with a Briggs and Stratton 450E Petrol engine. The tools I used were 2 bricks for standing the engine on once it was out, a tub to collect the old oil, a 3/8" drive ratchet, a couple of 3/8" drive extensions, a 10mm, 30mm and 40mm socket, plus an abundance of paper towels. For safety, the first task is to ensure the petrol tank is empty. The next task is to unplug the spark plug wire from the spark plug. Then we remove the cable clamp by unbolting it, and then the control cable end from the control arm. I then lifted the mower up onto the bench and jacked it up so I could get to the blade and the mounting bolts underneath. I gave it a little wiggle to make sure it wasn't going to fall off. There are 3 mounting bolts which hold the motor to the body from the underside. I used a 14mm socket on the ratchet with an extension to undo the blade fastening bolt. I then undid the 3 main bolts and lifted the motor onto the bricks so there was no load on the shaft. While the motor was off, I gave the mounting flange a quick wipe down. I then readied my tub, removed the dipstick and lifted and tipped the motor, pouring the old oil out before obscuring the camera with my head. While pouring, I made sure the spark plug end of the engine stayed uppermost. I endeavoured to get as much oil out as possible before my arms ached. I then cleaned up the spacer washers in the mounting flange once more before lifting the motor back onto the body. It is then a case of threading the 3 bolts back up through the body, through the spacer washer and into the motor casting. I pinch all 3 bolts up finger tight first, then go round and tighten each one fully. Next it's time to fit the blade back on with a 40mm bolt and penny washer. Note, when refitting the blade, it only goes on one way as the cutouts are different. One is circular and one is oblong. Ensure the bolt is tight enough that the blade will not work loose, but not tightened so much that you strip the thread. Then it's on to refitting the control cable to the control handle and also refitting the cable clamp by bolting through it and then securing with a nylock nut. Remember to check the control cable operation thoroughly. Only then can we start the actual process of refilling the engine oil using the correct grade oil. Check your documentation for the exact spec of that your motor requires. Mine is SAE 30. After removing the cap and dipstick, carefully and very slowly pour the oil into the filler tube. The tube fills up quickly, so give the oil chance to get into the engine. If you still have the documentation, refer to this for the exact amount the engine takes. I don't, so I'll have to pour and check, pour and check. Remember to leave a good minute before checking the dipstick level, because if you don't, you will get a false reading. After waiting for the oil to settle, check the level again. So as you can see here, mine is below the minimum mark, so I will need more oil. So I top the motor up with a little more oil and then let that settle. Once the oil had settled, I check the oil level again. As you can see, it is between the upper and lower marks, so although it is in the safe zone, I will add a little more oil to bring it closer to the top mark. Lastly, remember to refit the spark plug lead to the plug and refill the fuel tank with the correct grade of petrol. I'm Dibley, thank you very much for watching.